everyone. Welcome to the dedication of the snake that never sheds. So over the years, I've thought a lot about this. About all the different people and amazing gifts people have given me. To begin, I want to address my children. They have really brought meaning, understanding to my life. I've been able to see things through their eyes, to understand that you can see beauty through others' eyes, even when you're in the face of challenges, even when you're in the face of suffering. You can step outside of yourself and look at the miracles around you. And I think for me, that's really what my children were able to do in a much deeper way than anybody, because I've had to put myself in their shoes. No matter what I was going through. Doesn't mean I always did what they would have preferred, but I always had to take into account how situations were affecting them, not only myself. And this is not just like a denial of self-care, and this isn't about doing things that are meant even for your children's benefit or welfare over your own. Obviously, at times, that's the better approach. However, there are times when no matter what we want to do, no matter what we want to give our kids the most amazing experience that this human existence is possible. However, what society's view of amazing and magical is may not be our own. Sometimes what appears to be right in line and right in step with what society would consider to be the foundation of a stable family isn't always so, just because it looks right. And sometimes the inner knowing of what's right for you will have devastating effects on your children. But if you're looking in a bigger view's perspective, as in how your decisions today will affect them 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And it's really more a matter of, for me anyway, showing my kids that no matter what grasping your inner knowing, grasping your passion, following your dreams, goals, and desires, while keeping other people in mind and while keeping other people in the forefront of your compassionate heart, shows them, it shows them to follow their own dreams, goals, passions, desires, inner knowing. If there is something that you want to do, that you have an inner calling for, even if your children do not understand it at that time, do what is in your heart. Your children eventually will share the same growth as you do, as you are, by following what's true to you, without a denial of the self. A denial of the self will show your children that they as well should have a denial of the self. And it is wonderful to have community and the oneness and share that. However, if it's at the cost of your divine purpose, of your ultimate joy and pleasure, and what gifts and creations, you're bringing to the world, that cost is too big, even if it's your children. The most unselfish thing you can do is actually following your dreams and goals and your self inner knowing. That is the greatest lesson we can teach our children, is to love themselves and value themselves, value what they want to give to the world. My children are, in many ways, our teachers. I had a conversation with my higher self about how do I teach my children? And it was, of course, your children will teach you. Teach you how to be a better person, how to have patience, how to guide without pushing, how to have fun and be spontaneous, and how to laugh with uninvited emotion. Children do not hide their emotions. They feel, and the rest of us know how they feel. Starting from our infant phase of pain versus pleasure, because a child cannot say, an infant, a baby cannot say, I'm hungry. They just cry until they are at ease. Pain versus pleasure. So if there's one thing that I can give my children, the one thing that I give them, is my belief and support in their dreams, passions, goals, and desires. The self-love. Pours out and onto others this way. The joy beams through like energy waves touching each and every one of us when somebody has found their joy, when somebody has found their meaning. So we should do everything we can to support that. Second, my family. There are a lot of things that you will find in this book that are hard to hear and hard to imagine. How I do understand their suffering. I do understand my parental figures were very sick and had very sad, hopeless souls. My siblings, and I am much different because I was the one who talked and talked and talked, and they wanted me to be quiet. But, you know, it was obviously, again, no fault of their own. They were only doing what they were taught by my parents, by our community, by society. And I'm praying the suffering that they felt to become small and silenced has dissipated. And this book is as much for them as it is for me. My healing is their healing, if they want it. My ancestors and whatever pain was inflicted, whatever shame and guilt that has run through the veins of my DNA generation after generation to cause the systemic familial pain. It ends here. To my community that I grew up in, I do have to say that our environments are so important to the psyche of each and every one of us. If you're not getting what you need at home, you will search for it. And luckily, I was in an environment that, not all the time, but a lot of times I was able to have a lot of my self-esteem needs met by close friendships, a lot of close friendships, deep friendships that still exist today. Because when you have a deep relationship, even if it was a one-time experience where you both go there, which is what I do often and had for so long, you create a space and time where that feeling and that connection exists forever. My community really did show me, even if it was indirectly, the joy of family, the joy of friends, and the joy of community. And finally, I have a couple more actually. I was going to say to all the children, and of course we all have pain and suffering from when we were children, but the children who feel and have felt alone, that have had to be parents when they were children, to other children, or to themselves, or to their parents, or other family members, who have witnessed and been the object of other people's pain and suffering through multiple types of abuse. And the ones who end up in the foster care system, this is for you. To learn, like Lonnie did, to keep speaking your truth and to take your power back. You're not alone. And do not be embarrassed. You are lovable. You are worthy. You are special. And you are going to do amazing things. And finally, my caregivers and those they care for. And the reason I'm focusing more on the caregivers is because we all need them in our lives. Some more than others physically. And emotionally and mentally. It appears that some need more than others. I don't really know how much of that is true because I think many are in denial about how much care they actually do require from others. a lot of people's needs are so easy to identify. And then there's the rest of us. And you think you're getting away with something that nobody knows. That little something inside you that requires a little extra help. That requires a little extra attention, a little accommodations, and you maybe write it off as something else or don't talk about it. Maybe you have shame and guilt around it. But here we're going to learn that we all have needs. We all have deficiency needs that really do require assistance from others. And we all have growth needs where we can start to give back to others as long as our deficiency needs are stabilized in an appropriate manner. The caregivers of the world, some of us were just born that way. Born to want to help, want to give back, want to come up with solutions, want to be a part of something bigger than ourselves. And some of us were just placed that way. And it became habit, and it became, more and more apparent that this was actually why we were here, our purpose. So sometimes caregivers are born into it where they do have their needs met. And it's a joy right away to be able to jump in and be of service as the hall monitor or the leader at school or the one who always saves a spot in the cafeteria for someone who's looking. And then there's others that are left to fend for themselves and others. It doesn't matter which type you are. The feeling, I believe, is all the same. However, really, the first caregiver that has their needs met typically will care for themselves as much as they care for others. They'll make sure they have all their needs met before they care for others. At least that's the way it's supposed to go. We'll learn that together if you don't know. Following Lonnie's path, she was trying really hard to have her needs met by outside sources. Although she did do a lot of things on her own, way above and beyond her age bracket or category or, I don't know. She was pretty amazing at times, the things that she was able to do at such a young age and not think twice about it, whether it was fun, or whether it was for survival. But she got so used to giving in her older age, which wasn't that old, but especially when she had a child with disabilities, kind of got out of control, the giving, the caregiving. And everybody looked to her to give to them, to take care of them. And she did it, she did it, she did it. And she was happy and happy and happy to keep filling everybody else's cup. But hers was empty. So I don't know what she was filling their cup with for a long time. And it seemed so painful at times. And she got so angry and, just kept on keeping it in, kept on pushing it aside. And yeah, there's a point every now and then she'd get a little pissed off and let some steam off, but that wasn't still caring for herself. It wasn't still taking the time she needed to go through her self-care, to make sure she had what she needed for food, for water, even for her shelter, for herself. Did she feel safe? Did she feel like she was standing on steady ground? That she could trust the people around her? That she could trust herself if the people around her disappeared? Not putting all her eggs in one basket, the giving basket, hoping that people would take care of her and give to her as much as she would give to them. Hope. That it's not, hope is like just a mystery. I'm just going to hope, It's kind of like a lottery ticket, gambling and whatnot. That's hope. Because she was so inept at being able to have discernment, and because her self-esteem was so crushed that she only felt like she could really get the love she deserved by proving she deserved it to others. And here's the thing. You deserve love. You deserve respect. You deserve value. From those around you and our society. As a human being, but as a caregiver. Our caregivers are the ones who hold this entire thing together. They assist in the growth, health, wealth, well-being, safety and security, metaphysics, our daily living activities. They feel what another is going through. They feel and grow from it. They feel from the gifts that they give to others because they understand what they're getting in return. They know that they're getting the acknowledgement that goes far beyond who they care for. It goes beyond this society. Being a caregiver shows you the real world. It lifts the veil of our existence as you start to begin to see how precious life is and how fragile it is, and what a miracle every single day is when you're a caregiver. And I don't think people talk about that enough. I know a lot of caregivers are suffering right now because they don't feel some of those core societal acknowledgement that they should be. And I'm here to shed light on it. And I'm here to show you one path that had a lot of lessons and a lot of miracles, but all led to one place. Knowing what an honor and privilege it has been to be a caregiver. And I thank you for what you are doing. And I honor you and value what you do for us every day. I will never stop speaking about the gift each and every one of you are. And I will do everything in my power to make sure that you all get exactly what you deserve, which is a life filled with joy and stability and honor. None of this would be possible if I hadn't recognized my part. None of this would be possible if I based what I'm doing on anybody's opinion outside of myself. So if my story reaches any one of you and it touches you in a way that lifts you, you don't have to thank me. You can go within and thank yourself for listening, for being present, and for sharing in what was never possible if it was just me alone. And understanding that. So I thank my higher self for allowing me to be the conduit for allowing me to step back and out of the human self for a moment and just realize it's all been perfect. It's been for all of us. And my life does bring meaning to the world. And so does yours. Thank you.